Hey guys, so quick little update before we get into the video. Um, I'm starting to actually finalize the overall rubric of honest review. I'm gonna write it down soon, but just note that we're going to get things more streamlined, and that I'm not gonna be re-reviewing products. But that's because, well, I mean, if I feel the need to, I'll probably go back and review them. I'll probably dig up a bunch of the products that I reviewed and re-review them depending on my overall stance, how it shifts. But also note that you might see products that you haven't seen before in older honest review videos that pop up as the topic of the review in newer review videos. That's because nowadays, at any given point when I do a review of a product, I will have at least one product currently being reviewed, and hopefully at least one product currently being delivered. I also have so currently what I have is two products being worked on and one product in transit that's being delivered. And I also have a backpedal of at least three uh, products that are ready for their reviews, but just in case. Because the three products, well, one of the products is it's a pain in the butt to review. But also, two of them are for if I really need to release a honest review that will basically be good eatings, like an hour or more long, I can, post them. These ones will be basically tied you off, and might be tied you off for the whole channel for a while. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm actually going into college now, and although this first semester of mine is going to be more easy, I might not be able to do a lot of YouTube stuff for it. With that being said, though, enjoy the rest of the video. Hello everyone, X the Turtles 69 here, back with a brand new video, and today guys, alright, you guys already know how much I love Skullcandy. I mean, I do reviews of them all the time, and I'm not restating all the stuff that I've said about Skullcandy, but let's just say I really like them. So, because of a few things that I'm currently now reviewing, it is now time to give the next the next in line for review, its chance to shine, being another Skullcandy product. Now, I'm going to go more into detail with this because I have a more in-detailed and in-depth system to review stuff. So with that being said, say hello to the Skullcandy Push Actives. Now, I don't actually have the box for this because these were actually given to me by a friend. However, here you go. So, without any further ado, let's get into this. Now, though yes, I only have a picture, the front box of the box design really says a whole lot about a product. It is what I'm calling first impressions. So with that, let's look at the first impressions. Honestly, pretty standard for a product from Skullcandy. For example, the Smokin' Buds. A little bit more fancy. And yeah. But let's just read off what they're promising. Now, the reason why I'm going to read off what they're promising is because, like usual, its overall score is going to be heavily related to what it delivers on. And I take this very seriously. I take design less seriously than I take functionality and what it markets on. So let's see what big things this is. This is promising. Now, before we get into this, just note that these are an $80 pair of earbuds. Mine have a lot of issues. However, due to me having used them, I have enough experience with them to fill in the small gaps. But yeah. Well, so for about $80 or $75, by far the most expensive product that I've ever reviewed so far. The Push Active XT it says here, but I do not think that I have the Push Active XT. I'm not sure. True wireless sports earbuds. They have a QR code for the app of Skull IQ. It has Skull IQ smart feature technology, hands-free voice control, which basically is your all of your assistants, but it has to have, the app open, I'm assuming. 44 hours of total battery, so that means that basically you can go approximately 44 hours without charging until you need to charge them. This is not, I'm assuming that this is not accounting for passive battery drain and everything. They can be updated with the Skullcandy app, which that's actually kind of normal with all the more expensive pairs of Skullcandy stuff, even the least expensive wireless headphones. Sweat and water resistant, which I'm gonna be honest, I've tested already each and every single one of these products. I've worn in the rain or worn while I was sweating, or worse. Yeah. I mean, heck. My Rift 2 wireless, I wore during one of my doctor's visits when I collapsed. Like, seriously, and they held strong, so you can trust them. And then they have the normal find your earbuds tile compatibility. They also have Spotify tap, which I have slightly tested, although I do not use it because I don't use Spotify. Anyway, though, some pretty big claims, but I'm excited for it. So, let's look at the actual product real quick. So, first things first. The case. Nice matte black finish with a somewhat shiny black logo. It has an orange door for the charging port. You can see here it has an orange door for the charging port. So, pretty decent case so far. Now, let's open it. The lights immediately turn on, and these lights immediately turn on. By the way, I will mention that only the left one works, which is the one that I got a replacement on off of eBay. Don't ask me how, but just note that I'm filling in the right earbuds quality with the left earbuds quality that I currently have. By the way, the left earbuds quality is pretty decent for a replacement off the eBay. Anyway, though, nice orange texture back there. Skullcandy, he products when they're colored black are usually they're usually with black with orange highlights. Enough room for this. I do like how this looks like a display case. It does look very nice. And let's just take out one of the earbuds to see. Let's take out the left one. Yeah. Let's take out the left one because it is the good one of these. So, very small. It has a nice rubbery over the ear thing here to keep it in place, which is pretty strong. It has a nice gray ear gel, orange button, and everything. It's pretty decent. Overall, I'd say that it is a... So, when it comes to earbud casing, even with pricing, it's kind of hard to pin down exactly what I give it points for, because I mean, if it's an earbud case and it charges the earbuds like it's supposed to, technically it fulfills that. So I'm going to say that the nice sleek design of the case, which is somewhat reminiscent of the Smokin' Buds, which I did like their case design, plus with their addition of not only a back charging port, which I do like, but also a door for the back charging port, which keeps out moisture and everything. As bonuses, I'd say, overall, pretty nice. Also, it automatically turns on, so for overall looks and appearances, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The reason why I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 is because I feel like they could have done a bit more with the black highlights. Sorry, with the orange highlights. They could have made each of the actual Skullcandy logos be orange instead of gray. However, that doesn't take away all that much from the appeal. But that just means that, that just means that basically they're not going to get a 0 on for the that basically doesn't mean a lot, because you know me, it's all about functionality for me. So let's take out one of these. And let me just put this in. And already... Hold on. Let me just put this near my mic so that you guys can hear this. So it starts with voice control off. But if you have the Skullcandy app up or running in the background, it says voice control on. So that is basically the definitive sound for everything Skullcandy, which is very soothing, very nice, not too in your way and in your face with it, which I do appreciate. Now, its Spotify tap does works just as advertised. But I don't use it because I use YouTube Music. So yeah. It's voice control, though. That's a different thing. So I have the Skull IQ app open right here. Now, the thing about the Skull IQ app is that it has, when it comes to things on the Skull IQ app, it has good few of them have personalized sound, which I mean, sounds really, really good. I'd say that if you have the money to spend on some of Skullcandy's higher end earbuds, to go with the ones that are connected to Skull IQ, because the equalizer which is still, honestly, I'd say it's a little better for on these ones than it is on the Dime Evos or the Rift 2 Wireless. The equalizer is made so much better when you take the personalized sound quiz that it has on it, and it basically configures the sound of the earbud to give you more rich and overall, I guess the way that I'm saying it is like overall more impactful music and audio in general. Now, it also has stay aware mode. However, unlike with the Diamond Evos, you only need one earbud for the stay aware mode, which I do very much like. It also has button settings, which is amazing. I'm just going through the list of everything. So, but for button settings, you can basically all the music stuff that, play, pause, fast forward, rewind. And when I say fast forward, rewind, I mean skip or backtrack the piece of music or the track that you're listening to, I guess. Fast actions are Spotify tap, the push button photo, and activate the assistant. And then phone controls are reject in/in call and accept/in call. And you can customize it to 1 press, 2 press, 3 presses, or holding for 1 second. So, for the voice controls, you can say, hey, then the brand name, to do different things. For example, listen to this. Hey, Skullcandy, stay aware on. What? Hey, Skullcandy, stay aware on. Hey, Skullcandy, stay aware on. And now, you can hear everything. Like, now I can hear myself speak while I'm using my earbud, which is really nice. Hey, Skullcandy, stay aware off. So, it's pretty simple. I had some issues there because Google Assistant was thinking that I was talking, and I have to be very careful with assistants because now I have 3 assistants, being Skullcandy, Google, and the faceless lady from Amazon, which I can't even say her name because if I do, she's gonna activate. So yeah, I have 3 assistants listening to me, so I have to be really careful. Anyway, though, I mean, so far, pretty decent for functionality and everything. I mean, these are all just benefits to it, I guess. Personal sound is not advertised, but it's a benefit, and let me tell you, it is very, very good. But I can't exactly show you. I mean, I guess I can show you the difference between it. Somewhat. But you're just gonna have to but overall, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. However, I will show you a comparison between the Dime Evo's audio and the Push Active's audio. So yeah. So that's all of that I'm going to cover. But now it's time to cover the actual overall sound. Now it's time for the sound test. And let me tell you, it's going to be fun. Benefits of being my own artist and well, benefits of doing my own music. I can just use my own music for this. So let's just put up shard. So this is one of my own pieces of music. Although it's technically is copyrighted, it's my copyright. So, you know. But yeah, let's just hear it. So first things first. Dime Evos. Alright, so I have both earbuds in so that we can both listen to this. That is not the best that I can do. Hold on, let me just pull up a different piece, I guess. So I found an actual good thing for me to show you guys this with. This is music from the Shattered Realities trailer, which is not composed by me, but is, though it's not composed by me, it's royalty free. And you know? So, that's the Dime Evos audio. Alright, and here is the audio for it of the push active. So now you guys can have, you know, is somewhat of an idea of how it sounds. So, yeah. So, I think that's about it. So, overall, for the looks, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Sorry, no, a 9 out of 10. With that translating to a nice, I'd say a nice 1.5. Yeah, I'd say a nice 1.5 for the overall score. Then for its overall functionality and sound, I'll give it honestly, I'm gonna give it a nice no, not 7. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. No, 9 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. So for that translates to a nice, a nice full about 3 points, 3.5 points. So far it is, let's see here, 3.5. So currently it's at a 6 out of 10, which is already really good. And then for its overall extra stuff that it didn't need and didn't advertise, however, are very much welcome, which is basically only, well, didn't advertise it straight on the box from what I saw and everything, I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it 2.5, which is just underneath the max for that being a 3. So, meaning that its overall score comes down to plus all the plus I'll be right back with the math. Alright, and I'm back with the math, and now for the moment of truth. It is a 8 out of 10 product. Now you might be wondering, why 8 out of 10? Well, I had to also compare it to the price of it. Now, I was also very nice and compared it to the to a relatively lower price, being $75. However, for $75, I'd say that although it is almost, although not almost, although I'd say that it is very much close, not just almost, but super, super close to being worth the price. The simple fact is, the reason why it's not fully worth the price is because it says Spotify tap, meaning that it doesn't allow. Now, I do know that Spotify is very popular. However, there are certain people like me who do not like Spotify. I do not like Spotify. Now, other things that use voice controller commands to activate music usually have stuff like Pandora or another music company. However, the lack of I'll say that they did it good with doing Spotify, but that does really take down their points a bit. But hey, 8 out of 10, not that bad. So, what should you buy it? As an 8 out of 10, about $70, $80 product, should you buy it? Honestly, I would say that you should. However, I'd say that that's only if you really want them in specific. I'd actually say that so far, considering Skullcandy, everything that I've been rating up for Skullcandy, to actually, probably to save up for some of the higher end ones. Not saying that these aren't higher end ones. I'm just saying, like, the super high end products can get much more expensive. But yeah, for their price, I'd say that they would be 100% worth buying for their price. Hands down, no questions asked. If they were a little bit cheaper, or if they had A and C. But, with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, consider liking, leaving a like, and subscribing. It helps out the channel a ton. And comment down below what you would like to see me review next. And with that being said, and see y'all